This is Making Light. Julie Hurt and Kate Fogger are soul-level intuitives and animal communicators. This show is about us sharing our experiences in the hope it will help others along their path. So let's go make some light.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Making Light, Two Humans Being. My name's Julie Hurt. With me, as always, is the wonderful and fabulous Kate Foggo. It is a new month here on Making Light, Two Humans Being, which means we're going to take a look at a new workaround theme. This is actually a client-requested workaround theme of denial. So this month, we're going to spend each week, and I'll get to a little bit of a schedule, but we're going to take a look each week at denial through the different negative beliefs with which we work. There are 4: not good enough, not lovable, not worthy, not safe, secure, and protected. We may end up doubling. We know we're going to double up 2 of them because we're going to have a special guest star also this month. So stay tuned for that. But we'll see where today goes, because if we can't get to denial today, which I feel, and the guides are like, totally are easy peasy. But anyway, if we don't get there today, then we'll double it up for next week. Because what's been really going on is, as Kate and I were preparing for today's conversation, there is a whole lot going on in Kate's world right now, not the least of which is that it's incredibly windy where she is, and Sally the cat doesn't necessarily want to jump. And what the things that are going on with Kate, what I actually wanted to just kind of put out there is there's so much synchronicity that happens at the exact same time. So when you're, I don't want to say stuck, when you're working through something, when you can look at all the things going on around you, those can also be clues as to why they are happening. So I'm just going to put that out there for now. So Kate, why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of the backstory of what's been going on for you?
Well, none of them are huge, Julie. It's just when you look at it all together, and as we talked about it, I feel this huge resistance toward it, which is, I guess, is denial. If we consider denial as non-acceptance, which I guess it is. So Sally's health, she seems to be fine, but she suddenly, literally overnight, got very old. It seems she won't jump up. She quite happily jumps very high, and now she's hauling herself onto the sofa. She has got a growth in her mammary glands, which we've had looked at before, but there's really nothing they can do other than operate, and we can't sedate Sally without her being great danger to her health, because her heart stopped during a sedation, so we don't do it unless it's life-threatening. So it's a sort of life or death situation. She's going to die of one or the other, so we'll just leave the growth alone and see what happens. And also there's, what was this other thing about her? So she's been waking me up as well in the middle of the night and just stuff like that. And my question to Julie is, am I being selfish and not taking her to the vet? I think, like, she's telling me she's okay, but I don't really know, and all of that. And then it's really, really windy here, and it's just pushing all my buttons all the time. I'm not really sure why. And I was talking about surrender, and then it all this came out with Julie. So Gary's not in a good place right now with his job. He's really miserable and quite depressed. So he's not even shouty about it. He's just really depressed about it. And I feel for him. But then, like last night, he was helping me in the kitchen. And oh my God, the chili was wrong. The blender didn't work. So he's shouting again, not at me. There's nothing directed at me. He's just in an absolutely foul mood, and everything goes wrong. And I'm sitting there, and I think I'm being really calm, and I just ignore it, and I just ignore it. And then the blender didn't do this, that, and the other, and lime and coriander sauce all over the kitchen. And again, I'm just all, not reacting. And then I can't remember, at some point I flipped, and I don't know what it was about. And like, again, none of this is directed at me. It's just, I cannot be around people like that. This is why I want to live in a cave. I flip, and then of course I'm horrible to him, and he's like, whoa, he's no idea why I'm so angry, because I just feel like I've been put through the ringer, like, because someone's like nah, 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 at me, and then there's a fucking wind that won't stop, and the windows are rattling, and like, they're like, give me peace, God, give me peace. And of course I shout at him, and then I feel really bad because he's like, he doesn't know what's happened. And then I'm angry with myself because I'm just like, I don't know what else I can do. I don't know how to protect myself so that I stop reacting to other people's energy. Can't find anything that helps. All the stuff I read, you're like, I fucking know that doesn't help me. And then I get into this whingy moany, and then Julie starts telling me it's all about me, and then of course I'm like, well, fuck off. No, it's not me. It's out there, it's not me. I'm not interested. Shut up, you and your spiritual shite, because I'm just fucking angry, right? And I can see that it's
Right.
resistance, but I don't know what to do with it. And when you're in this mood, I don't know where you go from here.
So so the first thing is just take a couple of deep clearing breaths. Like you just need to get some big, deep belly breaths going and breathe out through your mouth, Kate. I can just feel it on my end. Like it's just, whew, all of it just kind of starts churning and everything, right? So does that make sense? So far, she's breathing, so we're not going to make her talk.
Yes.
Yeah. So as we were preparing for this and you were sharing the backstory with me earlier, what's, there's so many different things that we've kind of talked through, but we're going to revisit them and probably go a little deeper. The idea that, and I was sharing this with you earlier, the idea that this is that this journey that we're on is a checklist, if you will. Like I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Now, why am I not? So the journey's not a checklist, right? And this is and it's interesting too, like how we to some degree are like yin yang, like you're in one space and I get to be on the other, and then sometimes I'm in your space and you're in
Yeah.
mine. Like it just depends, right? And so just know that too. Which is why we do this show, so that we can help one another and help all of you. So anyway, this isn't a checklist. What I was telling you earlier, and I've really kind of become aware of this for myself this last year and a half, is it when it becomes a checklist, and then we add attachment to the checklist itself, as well as to the final destination of I am good and whole and perfect, or I'm not saying you're doing that, but that's just part of it. That's when we begin to bring in this suffering. That's when we begin to lose kind of our footing into what it is, because none of this is a checklist. What I usually like to say is like this whole journey has a lot of rinse and repeat in it. And when we rinse and repeat, we rinse it out, we begin to repeat, but we repeat at a new place. We repeat at a deeper level. We repeat at a spot where we now have different challenges, but that our previous challenge informed this current challenge. And so we're constantly moving through, forward, around, whatever is rinse and repeat. The other analogy that I love, and I got this from Father Richard Rohr, is this 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Many times in particularly Western culture, maybe a lot of cultures, but I can only talk to Western culture, we love progress. We love moving forward. We love, I did this and now I'm here and then I get the promotion and I got the new car and I got the things, right? Because I'm constantly moving forward. And yet life will continually throw us a proverbial 1 step back. And instead of us beating ourselves up for, oh crap, how am I kind of back to where I started, this whole mentality, what Father Richard Rohr talks about is that 1 step back, that's the moment of reflection. Oh, look what I learned. Look where I am. Like, look what's repeating. What's happening now? And it's that in that 1 step that really informs the next 2 steps forward. So what's going on now, what we were talking about earlier, is this sticky bit that when all of this stuff is coming at you, so Sally's health and you questioning what's going on, questioning, understanding you have a wisdom that she's fine, but you want knowledge. So there's wisdom is divine feminine, knowledge is divine masculine, but you want the knowledge, or you want, yes, the knowledge that she's okay. So you want stuff to come in from the outside that she's okay, even though you know intuitively that she is fine. And you've talked with her about it. Yes, go ahead, Kate.
I've just got that. that's actually all about either not worthy or not good enough, because I'm being told by her, not necessarily that she's fine, but just to back the fuck off, just back the fuck off. She's just, so whether she's fine or not, she does not want me to interfere with her. And that's my internal wisdom, is I don't want to take her to the vet unless there's something obvious that they can help her with, because it's stressful for all of us. Nobody enjoys it, and I don't want them to put her on drugs. But it's I'm not quite sure if it's not worthy or not good enough. Which one are we supposed to be looking at? That means I want some validation from a vet
Validation from the outside.
to tell me that I'm doing the right thing, because I'm worried that in my arrogance, I am actually denying her something that they could be helping her with. So I've got that one now. And I love that, the feminine wisdom mask, because you're right. I have asked her, I have spoken to her, and she's been quite short with me. You said she was with you.
Yeah, she used the F word with me too when I connected with her. Yeah.
But she's also been like driving me crazy, as waking me up again. Although we came to an easy conclusion last night. She did fall asleep on my. She's been waking up at 3:30.
Yeah.
Purring, which you'd think would be cute, but it's not. She purrs like it's like aggressive purring. So okay, right.
She's such an amazing teacher for you, because there's just all the things. Yeah.
Okay, but when you just picking up on the rinse and repeat, and again, I'm feeling a bit better, thank you, but I am still in avid denial here.
Yes.
What the fuck? Like, it doesn't feel like I'm further. It doesn't feel the same. It feels like the same old shit. And this is driven. So there is egoic. Oh fuck, here we go again. That side, totally egoic. But there's also the level of suffering, Julie. I don't want to go through it. This is not just the checklist of, oh, look what I've achieved, but also the checklist that prevents me having to go through this, because it's all fucking nonsense. I can see that from the outside. Let Gary have a tantrum. He's not shouting at me. He's not hurting me. Why? It's not. There's nobody's in danger. It doesn't. I could just shut my ears to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like but why do I have to go through this? Because I told you an hour later, and I think that's what it must be. I mean, he actually just made me laugh, and it reminded me of why I got together with Gary in the first place, because I used to be the shouty one, and he would just make me laugh. So when I shouted at him last night, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, whoa, what was happening? I'm like, do you not hear yourself? You've been there. He curled up on the floor and was going, like, crying like a baby, like making fun of it all. And of course, that just makes me then laugh. And it did diffuse the situation, but it's like, but then at the same time, it piles it back on me, because then I feel bad, because I mean, he's joking, but it's still, I can't watch someone do that even in jest without it really hurting me. So he completely diffused it. But an hour later, we were sitting on television, and my stomach just went to pieces, and I had to go and sit on the loo for an hour while my body expelled every piece of food that had ever been in it. And I'm sure that's just an energetic reaction to stress. So what I'm saying is, this stress is real. It may be fucking nonsense and about nothing, but the
Not judged.
toll on your body is real, and the toll on your emotions is real. And that's my frustration. I do not want to feel like this. That's a lot of the frustration. It's not just this, I want to be on a different spiritual plane. It's like, I don't want to suffer anymore. I don't want to go through this. Why, oh, why, oh, why have I not learned this, how to protect myself from this? That's, so there is the ego, oh, for fuck's angry side, but there's also this exhausted, tired little child inside me that goes, just make it stop. You're taking notes.
I am. The guides are having me write down stuff. Yes. If you were at a stage where there was nothing left to learn and nothing left to experience, because we are divine beings having human experiences to not only learn for ourselves, but to allow the divine to learn as well, you would be dead.
I know, but there's
in this incarnation.
Between, Julie.
Say what?
I know that, but there must be some compromise in between dead and this pain.
Yeah, it's called do the work.
I'm doing the work. You see all the
You are.
doing the work. I'm doing like what the fuck? I don't know what else. And this is where we get to. I don't know what else I can do. And
And here we
that's
go.
totally denial. I get that. And this
Yes.
is now Eva's voice is in my head saying the reason you can't move forward, Kate, is because you are attached to that personality, that part. And that part of me is going, I've fucking done everything. I've done my shit. This should not be happening. Everybody else is wrong. I am right. I've worked hard all my life. I deserve better. And I am still totally identified. And even when she says that, I can't see past it because I am completely identified with that part of my personality that is really fucking angry right now. There, I said it.
Yes. And so to take all of that, thank you for sharing all of that. And this idea of the knowledge, divine masculine, needing to have all this validation from the outside, and the divine feminine and wisdom, and you already possess all of it, and being able to trust this. I wanted to just kind of, well, they want to circle back to the synchronistic signs that part of this that's happening is this divine masculinity, divine femininity seesaw that you're on right now with the divine masculine a little bit more in control. Is that what's interesting synchronistically is that your cat, who is female in this lifetime, is showing you, a female, in a couple different physical ways. Hey, you have opportunities here. Hey, you have opportunities here. One is which she pounces on your chest in the middle of the night, wakes you up. And another is that the jumping and not wanting necessarily to jump. And when I connected with her earlier today, she's like, because I don't want to effing exert myself that much. So there's little synchronicities. And the other aspect from a synchronistic perspective is that she is a cat, a feline. She's a cat, and cats are extremely powerful beings in our incarnations because they can easily move between this world and the rainbow bridge, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. They can very much navigate all of this like this. And because of the work you've been doing, Kate, you have Sally, because you're ready for Sally. And so she's now up in the ante, if you will. She's pushed you into this one step back so that you have an opportunity to go, oh gosh, look at all these places where frustration creeps up, where I blow my top, where the wind is pissing me off, where it's all these things. Okay, there's a whole bunch of juicy bits right here. And she's pouncing on you to say, look at this one. Or she's not leaping because she's like, look at this one. And she's giving you all these opportunities to do so. Does this make sense?
It does, but why do I have
And
to be working all the time?
say what?
Why do I have to be working all the time?
We all do. We all do. I am. We all are. Therein lies the surrender, my friend, because you were asking about the word surrender. Therein lies surrender.
And masculine, I understand conceptually what surrender is, but from the masculine perspective of what does that look like? I don't know what that means. How do I surrender to the wind when it's driving me crazy? How do I make
There's nothing. Here's how, from a 3D perspective, there is not a goddamn thing you can do about the wind. And so you have no choice in your physical incarnation but to surrender to the wind. You have no choice. So, and spiritually, you have opportunities to use it as a metaphor, to connect with it because you're an intuitive. You can talk to the wind.
I guess it's not the wind itself, it's the effect it has on like the house, the noise, I feel really anxious all the time when it's windy, and I don't understand.
Wind also ushers in change. And the more you want to deny the change, and the more you want to dig, this is off guides, right? And the more you want to dig your heels, and the more you want to stand like a concrete block instead of that reed that we were talking about earlier, the more that dig instill, the louder the wind's going to push, because it's asking you to answer its call. So if noise is what gets your goat, so to say, that's what it's going to use to get you to step into its invitation.
But what does that mean? I appreciate I'm being arsy, but that's how it feels. It's like, yeah, and what? They're just words. What does that mean? What does that mean to me in my house when I'm feeling anxious? And there's another word that comes with the wind. I can't remember, but it was there a minute ago. You know, like it affects me physically to be, and also, you know, it's affecting my sleep because I'm actually scared that the front of the house is going to fall off because the winds have been that strong here. You know, there is an element of this house is not a 200-year-old cottage that I used to live in where I didn't give a shit about the wind. You know, it was quite nice to hear it rattling. I'm scared in this house. I'm scared because it's been built by modern builders who don't give a fuck and don't care and don't know. And I would not be surprised if the extension just flew away and left the front, you know, because we're so exposed here. So that element of fear as well. So
You're being exposed.
step into it. I don't know what that means because as far as I'm concerned with this work I'm doing on a body code and stuff like that, I have just stepped into a big fucking thing. Like, so again, that defense, what does that mean? What does
it mean to you? I mean, this is the work, right? Where, and for you wanting to have this outside entity, and I'm like, for those of you on the listening, I'm like pulling in from various places on the outside, for you needing to have the outside to tell you what it means to you is a huge workaround, because in that you're denying your own internal divine feminine intuition knowledge, or I'm sorry, wisdom that you possess. So the question of what does it mean is the perfect question. You are the only one who can answer it. I mean, the guides can tell you all day long, but that feeds your external knowledge. No, wait, sorry, knowledge. I gotta make sure I get my words right. That it feeds your external desire of the knowledge. When the guides are like, yeah, exactly. What does it mean to you? And that's where you begin to go deep and surrender to what you already possess.
I would have to say the human side of me anyway is don't try and do that when you're in a thing. I can't, because like the way I'm feeling right now, those words just make me irritated. So if I'm going to look at what does that mean to me, I have to do it when I'm in a different, when I'm not in a denial mindset, shall we say.
And we would suggest that's the actual perfect place to do it, because how you're feeling it right now. So to be that in touch with the feelings and what's stirring up for you, and how, as you know, in our soul level intuitive coaching, how we ladder it back to the negative belief and the moment that it began. And sometimes there's new, but this is very much in line with all the work you've been doing. So to recognize in the moment, unless you're driving, of course, or operating heavy machinery, if you can recognize it in the moment, this is what I'm feeling, and why am I feeling, what is it about this that's, and look for that negative belief, because you already know you have all this in you already. Like they keep wanting me to hit my heart center, and you already have it. And so to put it off for another time, when all the conditions are right, according to Kate, the overthinker, that we know, right? We know about this. But when is the external. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I'm in this mindset, so I'll say, well, what am I actually feeling? Okay, all those feelings. One, the wind, fear because my house is going to fall down.
Yep.
You know, well, that's nothing new to me. I know this shit. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? So I'm feeling fear. Why am I feeling fear? For the same reasons I felt fear, the same reasons I have examined over and over and over again for the last 5 years. You know, I don't want, it's just exhausting. I don't want to dig into it again. I know it's fear, and I know that's because I'm not connected to the divine, and I know that, you know, I need a little bit more faith, and that everything will work out, and blah 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 blah. That doesn't make me feel better. And, you know, why am I worried about Sally? Okay, we've identified it's either not worthy or not good enough, because I'm looking for external validation to say, no, it's okay, Kate, to treat your animal exactly as you please. You don't answer to anybody, and she's not going to let you do the wrong thing. All the things I tell my clients. Right, great, tick, done that. Then what? You know what I mean? It's like, and then it feels like, well, you're just talking in riddles to me to irritate me. I mean, this is what it's like for a normal person, isn't it? You're talking in riddles. You're asking me to understand something that's obviously beyond my comprehension. I don't fucking understand. You know, take
And
it.
in that right there, stop right there. You started to put yourself down in that moment. I don't understand.
But I
It's
don't.
beyond my comprehension. And
Yes.
that is not true. And you know it. So to
Okay.
surrender to the idea,
Irritate.
to surrender to the idea that you do in fact possess the good enough, the worthy, the lovable, and in all that you're safe, secure, and protected. In that is the surrender. And what that brings up for you is part of the one step back, part of the juicy bit, whatever words you want to use. Because it's in that little space where you can feel how your ego doesn't want you to feel that you are worthy, lovable, good enough, and safe, secure, and protected, and yet you know you are. It's in that little bit that you play. And the reason why you say you listed all these things, the fear, the not trusting the builders, all these things, it just is because those are invitations to go a little bit deeper. There's still stuff there. You did one bit, great. And now, and is another really good word, which is why, you know, I don't like the word but. Because the word but signifies nothing but denial. So,
But. Yes.
exactly. Yep. So you feel all these things and all of that. The and allows the surrender.
I feel all these things, and I want to cry.
There you go. Crying is a release.
It's exhausting. It's so
You what?
exhausting, and it comes out of
It is
nowhere, doesn't
exhausting.
it?
All the time. Yes. All the time.
There is so much fear around not doing the right thing with Sally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And all she's ever said to you is, you've got this.
and exactly, who's watching? Who's judging me? Who am I scared of? Like, Gary trusts me. He agrees with me, which is a surprise. You know, because but and I guess this
He
thing.
agrees with me, and that's a surprise. So just notice every time you begin to just as a little teeny tiny workaround right there to kind of pull this whole big thread, every little contradiction you make for yourself.
Well, it's a surprise because he doesn't necessarily buy into all of this stuff. Or maybe it's a surprise because
Who gives a shit?
yeah, maybe it's a surprise because I expect him to go, we'll take her to the vet, and he doesn't.
See, and in that,
I see that.
so you had an expectation, right? And that he did something different. The allowing, you were the one that at the beginning of us working together, we're always like, you know, when you change, Julie, everybody around you is going to change too. You're going to be surprised.
Yes, agreed with that.
Yeah. So you allow the change from him as well as part of your surrender to what's going on around you.
So sorry about the interruptions, but my internet is unstable. Apparently, I keep every time I open my mouth to say something to Julie, one of us freezes. We actually have super fast broadband to the pole right there, and I haven't brought it to the house. So I was also saying is from a karma perspective, I think the reason I got so upset about Gary is that I actually want to be supportive because I feel his pain. And it's just, I guess I exhibit parts of myself that I wish were no longer there. Okay. I don't want to be so vulnerable. Well, that is it, actually. That's not from a karma perspective. That's the same thing, just without the anger. But what's the
How does
lesson?
the element, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said, what's the lesson in that? Because I don't, not sure I can see it.
What's the element? This is the thread that they're showing, the guides are showing me, is this element of fixing it. If you could fix Sally and make sure she's 100% healthy, if you could fix Gary and make sure that he's 100% happy, if you could fix yourself to make sure you know everything you could possibly know, there's something in that. Does that make sense?
I don't think, I know there are elements of me wanting to do that, but I don't think that's what this is. The desire for me is I don't like, it's very painful for me to be so susceptible to someone else. I thought you'd frozen. It's so painful for me to be susceptible to someone else's energy.
Is that really what's happening? Or is it more that it's triggering things in you?
Well, it does trigger
And
things.
is in that this,
Yes, it's triggering stuff in me. Yes, agreed.
yeah, yeah. But, and that's the thing. It's not that there's a way, and we were talking about this earlier when we get ready. They're reminding me this idea of protecting. It's not necessarily that it's all about protection, which is outside of yourself.
But
It's
it's
much more about,
I mean, you go through this with Brad, I know. So if Gary's just ranting and raving, not directed at me, but literally shouting at the lime juice, shouting at the blender, cursing and swearing because he's dropped something, that's not directed at me, but it makes me, it obviously does trigger me because at some point I then explode and I get very defensive when I explode. I don't know what that's triggering in me because it's not directed at me. It's just that um angry energy affects me. But that's what I can't see about. I can't see a connection there other than bad juju makes me feel bad.
yeah. And the question is why? Do you know what I mean? Like it's, for me, when my husband Brad's in a bad mood and shouting at everything, including inanimate objects, or, you can argue that there's inanimate animation and everything, but anyways, inanimate objects and the dog and me, it's my response is the opportunity. My response is the invitation. When I notice that I'm wanting to deny whatever he's just said, or fix whatever he's just said, or get angry about whatever he's just said, it's in that moment that where it is, I have the opportunity to do the work, rinse and repeat, take the one step back. That's the little bit for me. And in that moment, whatever he's going through is his stuff, and I can allow it to go, meaning I don't take that on. In that is the protection, so to say. More importantly, for me, it is the opportunity like, oh, wait, I see how I'm wanting to react there. I see my humanness in there. What is it about how I'm feeling and wanting? What is it about what I'm wanting to do is really a negative belief rearing its head. That's the opportunity. Does it make sense?
It does, but I mean, it happens so quickly. I don't have visibility.
Exactly.
I know that from that there must have been warning signs, but I don't know what. I guess all of those signs, if I was aware of them, I am still looking for an external solution, which is, Gary, you need to shut up.
Right.
And to be fair to myself, Julie, I don't think I'm ever going to get to a stage where that does not affect me. Like, so maybe my solution is I have to leave the room now because I can't, I don't think it's fair to be on the receiving end of somebody else's vitriol if you're a sensitive person. Like at
So
some.
we're stopping you right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I will ever get to that point,
Mm-hmm.
is denying the opportunity that the divine has just given you.
Yes.
And that I just need all these things externally. So those two things right there are workarounds, signs, invitations. That's the first spot to step into it. Yes, of course, right now, today, you are not at a place to back up in a situation like that, to see, to feel that the stuff is brewing and that, oh, here's the chance. But this is the beginning. This is the first step. Now that you're aware that, oh, I react this way, the next time it happens, you can, and you react the same way, exact same way. Oh, there I did it again. Okay. And we go through this more often, rinse and repeat in an effort to get to the place where we begin to realize it's happening as it starts to happen. And then we get to a place where we realize it's happening before it happens. And we back ourselves up in a way that then we get the opportunity to make conscious choice and decide to react differently. And in that comes the change. That is the entire spiritual journey. Ongoing examples of when we can do this work, which is every
Isn't there an
day.
element of like I shouldn't have to be bomb proof, right? I should be able to take a little bit of poking perhaps, but I shouldn't have to sit and listen to somebody spouting vitriol at me.
No, you don't have to listen to it. And you don't have to choose to listen to it. The opportunity for you is, what does it bring up in you, and work through that. When you do that work, many pathways open up, in that you may be able to sit through it and not react so from it. It may be that you have a stronger boundary gets put in place, and, oh, I see what you're doing right now. I'm going to give you space and give myself space too. Those are just two pathways. Knowing what's happening for you is the key.
And I can see very clearly that my tolerance is much greater. That, you know, a year ago, 2 years ago, I'd have blown up the first time. I listened to 2 rants, and the third rant, I don't even remember what it was. The first one was about the fucking this, that, and the other, and the second was about the lime and chili coriander all over the kitchen. And then the third one was when I just went, oof, and you know, so there was a time where I'd have blown up the minute he opened his mouth, and we would have had an argument. Like, I don't do that anymore. But
So there's
but it's
so
still,
you can,
at the point I did blow up, I couldn't rein it in, because then I was really angry with him, because it brings up so much shit, and I don't know why, but it brings up a really defensive, I shouldn't have to listen to this, you can't speak to me this way, you know, just because you're angry, you don't have to make the rest of the world miserable, blah, all of that. And he's standing going, more. But anyway.
there's just more, according to Sally, there's just more leaps to be taken. There's just more, she's pounding on your chest. There's more things to wake up about too. There's just more. There's just more. And that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
That's where you give yourself a hug. That's where you do a couple of things, is that you celebrate how that you made it to round 3 before you lost your shit. Yay, you. And you give yourself a hug, and you're like, I am good enough. I am lovable. I am worthy, and I am safe, secure, and protected. And I see what you're doing, universe. And I respect your power. Matt Kahn, thank you so much for that phrase. And I'm rising to the occasion. I'm leaping, Sally. I'm leaping. And all of these things, and this, all of it. You got a ton of awesome forces working on your side. It just doesn't always feel like it.
Thank you, Julie. So I don't know how we're
You're
going to
welcome.
classify that one. Definitely in denial, actually.
Denial and all denial as the wind blows. I don't know what you want to call it, but you can pull in all the negative beliefs. I mean, to some degree, we touched on all of them. So, however that happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Julie. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Kate.
I need to go to sleep and I can't get clients all afternoon. Right. We've been Making Light. I'm Kate Foggo. This is the wonderful Julie Hurt, and together we're Making Light, which I already said, and obviously I have lost all power of communication. So apologies for the interruptions. My internet apparently is shit, despite it being like right there, super fast, right there. I can see it, but not to the house. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can follow us right here on YouTube. Please do comment here on YouTube. You can subscribe as well to get notified of new episodes, and you will also see new episodes advertised on Instagram and Facebook. If you enjoy this show, please do forward us on to other people who you think may enjoy the show, and please join in the conversation. Oh, and we're on a podcast too, aren't we? So apart from missing out on our beautiful faces, you can actually find us on whatever platform you're on. Although I have a question for you about that, Julie, when we're finished. Thank you, everybody, and good night.